Under this map, white Texans receive one member of Congress for every 445,000 residents. If you're Hispanic, it takes about 1.4 million residents for that same representation. If you are Black, it takes 2 million. In this proposal, a Hispanic Texan has 1/3 the political value of a white Texan under this plan, and a Black Texan 1/5. It would take 3 Hispanics to equal the representation of 1 white Texan and 5 Black Texans to equal the value of 1 white Texan. Under these lines, Texas Hispanics will be the most underrepresented population group in all 50 states. The level of underrepresentation will far exceed what even conservative courts have struck down in Louisiana, Alabama, and just yesterday in Mississippi. And yet, when confronted with these facts, a common distraction from proponents of this map is to point a finger at California or Illinois and to say, everyone does it. But no Democratic map in California or Illinois systematically erases representation for a population that is 60% of this state. This map is an abomination.
Hello, wonderful good people. Welcome once again to another episode of my YouTube channel. For those who are new here, I'm Marvin. Please and kindly feel free to hit the subscribe icon below and follow my page. If you find this video educative, of value and of essence, you can as well share to your family and friends for it to reach a high magnitude of people. Our focus today will be in Trump's administration in the United States of America. On a recent racially based gerrymandering, from the first video we just watched, we can clearly get to see it is going to affect the African American community and the Latino community. Today we will be talking also about how this will affect people who are living in Texas in general. We can also see people in Texas fleeing to other districts and counties so that when this redistricting is over, they can go back to Texas. It is so sad seeing Trump trying to rig the election the second time. There's a video I did on Trump's administration trying to rig the upcoming general elections by wanting to do a general census immediately before the due date in America. It seems the other did pass through. That's why he's trying to rig the elections with gerrymandering in Texas. Clearly, why would Trump only focus mainly in Texas? He clearly wants to win more seats in Texas. That's why he is majorly focusing on Texas. It is so sad. Black people, the African American community, the lawfully abiding Latino community are the ones who are going to be affected majorly in this move. We can get to see from the first video, they are comparing white people to the black people, white people to the Latino community. It seems the Trump's administration is really looking down upon the black people. When it comes to matter of elections, the Black American community and the Latino community are highly favored. This shows how Trump takes the two communities to be fools. When elections is nearing, he wants to be on top and to be favored from both communities. Each and every elections, we can clearly get to see that Donald Trump clearly focuses on these two communities. Once the elections are done, he wants to deport them out of America. With the videos we are going to watch here, we are going to see how gerrymandering is affecting the people in Texas and people in America. On today's world, we clearly know that it is the people who elect their leaders. But in this gerrymandering, we can get to know that it is the leaders who are trying to choose their people. They are the other way around. This is what we call gerrymandering. And the videos we're going to watch, you can clearly get to understand what gerrymandering means. Make sure you watch this video to the end so that you can get to understand the subject matter. You can get to understand how this move will affect the African American community and the Latino community in general. See you at the end of the video where we will discuss the impact to the general public and how it will impact the future of the American people in Texas and United States of America in general. Let's watch.
Do you ever feel like the political system is rigged? Well, it is, and in the US, that's thanks to gerrymandering. Let's get smarter in seconds. Gerrymandering is the manipulation of voter district lines to favor one political party over another. Typically, this is done by redrawing district lines to dramatically increase one party's power, which creates false majorities in elections. And this happens through a process called redistricting, but redistricting doesn't always equal gerrymandering. The word gerrymander is actually a portmanteau of Governor Gerry of Massachusetts and salamander. Back in 1813, this political cartoon was created to call out Governor Gerry's manipulation of district lines to help him win an election, and the name gerrymander has stuck ever since. Gerrymandering results in more political polarization and unfair elections by cherry-picking who has a say in policymaking and who doesn't. It allows politicians to choose their voters instead of voters being able to fairly elect their officials. Take a look at this example. You can see that regardless of the actual voting population, the way that different district lines are drawn can result in different outcomes for different political parties. And if the political party in power is the one choosing those district lines, you see the problem. Fair elections need fair maps, and if there's going to be redistricting, it should be the voters that choose those districts, not the politicians. The good news is that we can fight gerrymandering. In 2024, Wisconsinites ended 12 years of gerrymandering, helping to make sure that the elections actually reflected the will of the people. But the fight against gerrymandering can't happen without your participation. You can see how bad gerrymandering is in your state by visiting gerrymander.princeton.edu. And then you can use your favorite search engine to look up anti-gerrymandering campaigns in your state, and then get involved. Remember, democracy works best when we all participate.
So the Republicans are clearly cheating in Texas with their gerrymandering and redrawing all of the maps. And they're okay with that. And the Trump supporters are okay with that. And now Gavin Newsom in California are planning on doing the same thing so that they can pick up a bunch of seats. And now Trump wants a bunch of other red states to do the same thing across the country so that the Republicans can pick up 100 seats. And of course, the Democrats are going to respond like manna. Now, everybody's cheering this on. They are cheering Gavin Newsom on for doing this and matching the same energy as Trump. And while I get it, I understand it, and that the whole game of politics has completely fucking shifted, this is what we've become, America, where cheating is the only way that elections are going to be won now. It doesn't appear that anybody gives a shit about having elections with integrity and honesty. It appears that we are just going to gerrymander the hell out of this country and just let the chips fall where they may. Now, I'm not cheering gerrymandering on, and the Democrats historically have been trying to pass laws to ban gerrymandering nationwide, of which no Republican ever signs on for. But this is crazy. This is what we've become. And it's a sad day in America that we all have to play by these games. It's kind of disgusting. It feels dirty. This should not be the new norm, but this is what the alleged president, Donald Trump, has brought to this nation.
Gerrymandering. You've probably been aware of Texas's effort to redraw their district map and gerrymander it really severely for Republicans. I want to talk real quick about what gerrymandering is, especially for people who are not from the states. Real quick, in the United States, we have districts. Each district has a representative. Those representatives go to Congress. The districts are drawn on a map by the states, like the state legislatures. So politicians are the ones that are choosing the districts, and it is legal for them to craft districts that favor certain demographics. As long as a court doesn't rule it to be racist and unconstitutional, as long as they can sneak it by, they can draw whatever the fuck map they want. That is what's happening in Texas. Texas has more Democrats than Republicans. You probably think of Texas as a deep red state, largely because of gerrymandering. Now, both parties do this, but the reason that this Texas situation is so outlandish is because this is not a time where redistricting usually happens. We do a census every 10 years on the zero, and usually that's when the redistricting happens. But there's nothing legally stopping them, which is another example of just how fragile the United States systems are. Like, we put so much emphasis on just be chill about it, dog, but they're not being chill. And they passed a redistricted map that is abhorrent. It completely obliterates representation for Hispanic and Black people in Texas at large, and it adds 5 additional safe red seats to the state. And so the response to that has been that California's Governor Gavin Newsom has been threatening to redistrict California as a retaliation against Texas's redistricting. And that takes more effort because California has extra steps it has to jump through before they can actually do a redistricting. So where we're at right now is, for anyone who's talking about how there's never going to be elections again, they are currently fighting to try to make it so that they win the next election. So I think we can use that as a reason why we should expect there to be elections. But what they're doing is trying to make it so that the election won't do anything. The Republicans are at risk of losing their majority in the House, possibly in the Senate. And if that happens, Trump's term is effectively over. So they're doing everything they can to make sure that the House cannot be taken by Democrats by changing the literal game. Should we have gerrymandering? No, right? Like it's bad. Yeah, obviously. The best thing to do would be to have every state not do this. But that's not the world we live in. That's not the situation. And calling for decency in the face of one party literally changing the game is how you lose. I'm not a Democrat, but I can't fault them for doing what they're doing right now. It's the right political move.
Democracy's dirty little secret. It's not just lines on a map. It's one of those words that politicians love to throw around, but here's the truth. It's the slow, calculated unraveling of democracy, one district at a time. Gerrymandering is when politicians redraw voting districts to favor themselves or their party. Instead of voters choosing leaders, leaders choose voters. It looks like democracy on paper, but in practice, it's cheating with a pen. Okay, I still don't really understand the gerrymandering. Gerrymandering is like if someone came to Los Angeles and deliberately redrew the Blood and Crip territories, not based on where those sets actually live, but to give one side an advantage. I'm with you. Keep going. So imagine taking one block of Rolling 60s territory, splitting it into 3 separate zones, and then mixing those pieces into larger blood areas so that every new district has a blood majority. Aha! The neighborhoods themselves haven't changed, but the map has been manipulated so that one group's real strength is erased on paper. Aha! That's what gerrymandering does to voters. It carves up communities for political advantage. So the results don't reflect the people who actually live there. There's 2 tricks that drive this: cracking and packing. Cracking and packing? It's definitely got some unscrupulous elements. Cracking is breaking up communities so their votes don't matter anywhere. Packing, stuffing as many of one group as possible into a single district so their power is trapped in one place. It's legal theft of representation. This isn't just a game of maps. It decides who gets healthcare, who writes the laws about your body, your kids' schools, your housing, your taxes. And once those lines are drawn, they can lock in power for a decade. Damn! Gerrymandering makes voter turnout irrelevant when the map itself is rigged. When one party can draw lines to guarantee their win, they don't have to listen to you. There's no accountability. And that's how democracies rot from the inside. Not overnight, but quietly with a Sharpie. So what can you do? Push for independent, nonpartisan commissions to draw the maps. Pay attention, because maps might feel boring, but they decide who gets a vote and who gets silenced. Don't underestimate this. Power is counting on you being distracted. But if you understand how they play the game, you can change the rules. The pen can draw lines, but it can also sign petitions, write votes, and demand reform. Peace, y'all.
What is gerrymandering, and which political party is more guilty of this practice? Let's discuss it. Now, to understand what gerrymandering is and how it works, you first have to know that every 10 years, the United States Census will calculate the population throughout this entire country within each state. It will then be determined how many seats that your state will hold in the House of Representatives, depending on the population of your state. There are 435 seats in the House of Representatives. For example, the biggest state, California, has 52 seats in the House, whereas some of the smallest states like Wyoming has 1. And then once that process is done, your state is required to draw up the district lines, as you can see above me. And when a state legislature draws the district lines in a way that will massively benefit one party, we call that gerrymandering. And yes, both parties are guilty of this, but which party is more guilty of this? It's actually the Democrats, regardless of what the far left media tells you. For example, above me is the state of Texas. This is often referred to by the left as the most gerrymandered state in the country. Jasmine Crockett just constantly touts about how this state's lines are white supremacy and all this nonsense. But the reality is the 2024 election shows us otherwise. Yes, there was a discrepancy, but not much. Donald Trump would win this state by 14%, 56% to Kamala Harris's 42%. But Republicans actually only got like 66% of this state's congressional makeup, which is about a 32% victory, meaning the discrepancy is only 18 points. But Democrat states, yeah, the discrepancy is a lot more than 18 points. So, for example, in the state of Illinois, Kamala Harris would win this state by 11%. She got 54% of the vote to Donald Trump's 43% of the vote. However, as you can see from these ridiculously gerrymandered lines, yeah, Democrats got a lot more than 11% victory within the congressional makeup in Illinois, as Democrats would get 82% of this state's congressional makeup to Republicans' 18%. That's a plus 64, which makes it a 53-point discrepancy. 53 points! And for some more example, we have New Jersey here. Donald Trump loses the state by just 6. 52% for Kamala, 46% for Trump. Congressional makeup, Democrats get 75% to Republicans 25%. Plus 50. That means it's a 44% discrepancy. Lastly, we have California, and this one's really bad considering, that they have 52 representatives. Well, Kamala got 58% of this state's vote to Donald Trump's 39%. She won this state by 19 points. Yet Democrats got 83% of this state's congressional makeup, which is a 47-point discrepancy. So the real question to ask is, why the hell does the mainstream media obsess over the way that this state draws its lines, but overlooks the fact that this state, and this state are all drawing their lines in a much more gerrymandered fashion? And that's not my opinion, that's a fact. That's what the data shows us. And the obvious answer to this question, well, it's all manufactured. The mainstream media wants you to only care about gerrymandering when Republicans slightly do it, but when Democrats are doing it at a much greater scale, they want you to pretend it doesn't exist. So look through the lies of the media, look through the lies from what people tell you on TV. And once you see through all their lies, you'll realize that everything Democrats accuse Republicans of, they are usually just as, and in this case, more guilty of.
As Texas's redistricting battle continues to heat up, tensions rise. Governor Greg Abbott called a second special session this past Friday in an attempt to pass his controversial redistricting bill. Many Democrats have fled the state in protest of this bill and refuse to come back until it is no longer in the legislative agenda. I spoke with District 27 Representative Ron Reynolds about the redistricting bill and the effect it will have on Texas voters.
It specifically targets African American and Latino communities and what we call packing and cracking. That means we're putting many of them in one area and then we're breaking the other ones up into different areas so that they dilute their voting strength and the ability to elect a candidate of their choice.
Political science professor Dr. Mark Jones sheds some light on the historical precedents of the situation and how he believes it will develop going forward. What is the definition of gerrymandering and how does this term play into the situation at hand?
Gerrymander is whenever you draw the districts to obtain some type of goal. Partisan gerrymander is when you draw the districts with the goal of benefiting one party and hurting another party.
Many of the Democrats who are seeking refuge in liberal states like Illinois and New York are critical that Governor Greg Abbott is prioritizing this redistricting bill over legislation to provide flood relief.
Why wouldn't Governor Abbott, when there's such a crisis where you had over 130 Texans, many of them were children, precious little girls that died, why would you not prioritize this when you had the ability to do it?
Additionally, many Democrats are upset that the redistricting bill was proposed 5 years early, a violation of tradition.
This is a good example of a norm that used to guide politics in the United States being broken, and that is that you engaged in redistricting only once every 10 years, not whenever you felt you could gain a partisan advantage from doing so.
The future remains uncertain as Texas Democrats and Republicans continue to have conflicting agendas.
With the videos you just watched, I'm so glad you are here with me till now, and congratulations to you. God bless you, God bless America, and God protect the Black American and Latino community from the white supremacists and the harsh Trump administration. With the videos again you have just watched, what's your take in this? With the last video, we can get to see the governor of Texas. Clearly, he should be looking for ways to prevent more floods that killed many children, many people who are living in Texas. Clearly, this shows how greediness is in power. People clearly are wanting to have more days in the office and not to take care of the welfare of the people. Texas was hit by a major flood that went viral all over the world. It shows how how these leaders don't care about your livelihood. They only care about how they are going to stay in power for a long time so that they can continue to loot the public resources and enrich themselves. Gerrymandering clearly is a racially based move because it tries to target African American community and the Latino community so that they can be divided, they can bring spark, they can bring hatred to the people. How can a leader choose people to support him? How can a leader exclude some group of people saying this group is not mine, this group is mine, I want to support this group of people? This shows how democracy in the United States only favors the people who are at the top. The people who are down here, clearly their needs and wants are not looked into. We can also see from the videos we just watched that many of the people in Texas are fleeing to other districts so that when this democracy move has come to pass, they can go back to Texas because they don't want to be part of this gerrymandering or in Trump's administration. Trump also wants more 5 seats. This shows he is greedy for power, and from the ideologies of Trump, he gets what he wants, he gets what he needs, and he gets what his heart wants. Well, it is so sad. The African American community, the Latino community are always looked down up to when these leaders come into office. They are only important to them when the elections are nearing. From the first video, we can clearly hear the person saying that white people will be compared to a number of African people. White people will be compared to a certain number of the Latino community. These 3 groups, yes, they are law-abiding citizens. They are lawfully citizens. But once these elections are done, Trump will get into his mind and try to deport the Black Americans and the African community and the Latino community and Hispanic community in general. This shows how they don't care about your needs. Let me know your response to this episode. Do you support this move of gerrymandering? Do you support the redistricting of the lines in Texas? Do you support Trump's midterm trying to rig the elections because he clearly wants more seats in the House? This shows you how they don't care about you. It shows how they care about their pockets. They care about being at the top, and they also care about their family only. Clearly, share your response and I will humbly engage with you people. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share family. See you on the next episode and goodbye. Thank you for watching.